Great things in business are never done by one person, they are done by a team of people. A lot of great examples of teamwork are right in front of us as part of simple nature. Whether it's a colony of ants moving things heavier than themselves, or a swarm of busy bees extracting sweet nectar from flowers to make honey, we have several examples right in front of us to reiterate what Steve Jobs said, that great things are never done by a single person, they are done by a team of people. Similarly, in business, you need a group of well trained people to run the show. While being a one man army is definitely impressive, it's not sustainable. It's difficult to create anything significant or make an impact without a good team. That is why we invest a lot of time and resources in training and skill development for employees so that this team can achieve greater goals than a single person ever can. So, once you have the right team of people and they've started working for you, you have to effectively lead them and manage their tasks. How do you do this? Where everything is electronic, most activities are automated, and a lot of data is on the cloud. How do you manage a team in this setup? If your business is mapped to a software application, so should your people. For example, if your sales runs on a CRM, then the CRM should not only contain your sales data but also be able to identify the people associated with the data. Every business team has a certain structure to it, and this structure has to be mapped to the software used. The job of any software application is to mirror the real world scenario, right? So, if a sales rep cannot access confidential revenue information in the real world, for instance, this setup should be replicated in the CRM too. For this, you must map the people in your team, the team's structure, and everyone's access rights and privileges so that CRM understands all of this key information. At the end of the day, people are important, and it's essential for you to map details of your organization structure and its nuances to the software you deploy to run your business. This is why user management is one of the major subjects in CRM. To understand the subject better, let's stick with the example of the sales team in a business. So, the sales division in any business could broadly have three categories, that is, inside sales, outside sales, or channel sales. Now, inside sales, as the name suggests, typically is a sales setup where the sales agents are sitting inside an office building and talking to customers via phone or chat. So, inside sales could be referred to as remote sales or virtual sales, where sales personnel typically operate from inside an office via phone or email to sell to customers. Example, a salesperson handling about 50 sales inquiries from a single location, that is the organization's headquarters. And this inside sales setup is usually ideal for high volume of sales for low or averagely priced products or services. So, what does this mean? Now, let's consider the example of a tiffin box. Now, if you're selling tiffin boxes, now these are not really very high value products. So, if not from you, a customer is going to get a tiffin box from some other business, some other store. So, this is not typically a high value product, but if you are selling tiffin boxes, you may get a high volume of sales. You might have a lot of people asking for tiffin boxes. So, whenever you are selling a low value product but you are facing a high volume of sales, an inside sales setup could be ideal because from one location you can reach out to a lot of customers. You can call people, or people could place an order. You can reply to their chat messages or email, and you can just simply ship the product. So these are the kind of products for which an inside sales setup would be ideal. Whereas outside sales typically refers to field sales. By definition, outside sales refers to sales personnel working typically outside any office premises, visiting clients in order to sell their products or services. And they are field agents who work with customers face to face. Now, this could be a client visit, customer visit to their office building, or it could also be other formats of outdoor selling where an agent is required to be present at a meetup or a trade show or a road show or at a product demonstration. So any activity or any sales effort that requires a sales rep to travel either to clients' premises or other common events and showcase their product or service, meet clients and convince them to buy this. Any activity of this sort accounts for outside sales. Typically, it has to be outside a certain office building, office premises. So, outside sales is a lot about product demonstrations, elevator sales pitches, trade shows, and other outdoor formats of selling. And it's often ideal for high value products that need in person walkthroughs. Now, this is just the opposite of inside sales, where the value of the product you're selling is high, the product or service. The value is high, but the volume may be low. You may not have hundreds of people wanting to buy your product or service, but there might be a few. The volume of sales is low, but the product is of a high value. There is a USP, and there is a reason why people have to buy your product. You are establishing a difference, and this is what you're going out door to door to try and explain. So this is ideal for a high value product where the volume of sales might be low. Now, when you compare a microwave oven to a tiffin box or a vacuum cleaner with a tiffin box, these are high value products, and these typically need sales agents, engineers to go to the customers' houses and demonstrate how to use this product. Okay, so this is typically an outside sales based product. Now, the last division we're talking about is channel sales. Inside sales and outside sales are forms of direct selling. Channel sales is a method where different groups are engaged in the sale of a product other than in-house sales teams such as retailers, partners, and resellers. Now, what does this mean? If a company A has employed an inside sales team or an outside sales team, these people directly work for the company. It's a form of direct selling. Whereas channel sales is all about third party contribution to it, where for the particular product, there is a partner or reseller who's an expert at a certain region or who's an expert in a particular domain, and this partner or reseller approaches this company A and says, what, I'll help you sell your product in this region, let's work on a commission. So this setup where there are multiple channels, instead of the company directly employing people in certain regions or in certain domains, they get experts in that region, volunteers, partners, and resellers in that particular region, and then set up a commission model. And these different channels work in order to sell the products of company A. And this form of selling is called channel sales. These channels could be structured based on the size of the franchisee or based on geographical territories. Okay. Now that we have discussed in theory what inside sales, outside sales, or channel sales could all mean. In theory, these are three different kinds of sales setup, but practically, a company could use all three, right? While direct sales and channel sales are different concepts, in a practical scenario, a combination of these selling methods are followed by several organizations. For instance, a field agent working outside at a client's location often requires the support of the inside sales rep to send across sales documents, proposals, or product videos. Now, somebody at a trade show who is explaining or demonstrating the product to the incoming prospects. Now, this person could have a question or could need an immediate document to be sent over to this lead, in which case he will call up the inside sales team and ask them to send it over. An inside sales rep and an outside field agent would have to often collaborate in order to facilitate a particular deal closure. In that case, where 2-3 teams come together, that's called team selling. A channel partner, likewise, is an extension of the in-house sales teams whose remuneration is in the form of a commission than a salary. So they require the support of the organization's sales teams. Now, we are talking about a third party facilitating sales. Now, they are not on their own. They would need the help of the company in order to sell the products and services of company A. So everybody is dependent on each other, and this is how a practical scenario always is. And this collaborative selling could be called team selling. So all these are aspects of how sales teams in different companies function. To sum up, we just looked at three broad divisions in sales: inside sales, outside sales, and channel sales. And a collaborative effort could often be termed team selling. If your company or organization has all of these methods of selling, then when you use a CRM for your sales activities, you must make sure that these structures are also mapped to your CRM, right? You should map to CRM who exactly is part of your inside sales team, what their responsibilities are, what their access rights are, what are the tasks given to your outside sales teams, and who are your partners. All these details should be captured in your CRM, so that you know at any given point of time when you go and look at a deal, the revenue you've made, you can see who is responsible for it, who is accountable for this particular opportunity, and who has worked on it, who has completed the task. Can person A access this deal? So there are a lot of questions and a lot of factors around particular sales activity or data, and often when people are associated with it, the system should also know what their access rights and privileges are in the system. And it is for this reason that you're required to map your organization structure, hierarchy, and people's rights and privileges to CRM. So when these structures are mapped to CRM, their permissions and privileges need to be carried forward to the software. For instance, both an inside sales rep and a field agent may require the same ownership privileges to a sales deal, while a sales rep reporting to them might only need visibility to part of the details. What does this mean? For example, if there is a deal worth $5,000, an inside sales rep and a field agent may own this deal together. They are both equally responsible for that deal. Let's say an outside sales rep has visited a client in order to sell a particular product, and this outside sales rep needs the help of an inside sales agent. They both collaborate in order to supply the information that the client needs. So in this case, both of them are equally accountable to that particular deal. Let's say there is a sales assistant that reports to both of them. In that case, this assistant may not need all of the access rights and privileges that these two people have. So you will have to limit privileges for the sales assistant or that particular sales rep. In that case, you need to create a different profile for the inside and outside sales rep, the people who are in the managerial position, and you need to create a different set of access rights and privileges for the sales rep reporting to them. So these are the different kinds of details that you need to map to CRM so that your operations run smoothly in the system. That is why user management is important. It's in order to map the roles and responsibilities of these different teams and to replicate the privileges of these individuals in the CRM that you are required to understand and master the subject of user management in CRM. Now, we just have a quick example just to tell you what we mean by organizations, hierarchy, and roles and responsibilities, and so on. Let's consider the example of a company called Zilker Inc., which is a software company. And in this company, this is the hierarchy of the sales team, where there's a vice president. There is a US sales team and an India sales team. And under each region, there are a couple of sales managers, and each sales manager has a couple of reps reporting to each of them. Now, this is a typical linear organization hierarchy, and you can easily map this setup to a CRM. You can just replicate this. Instead of US sales and India sales, if you have a categorization based on a department or product, you can simply put your hierarchy on paper and confirm this is how the hierarchy flows in your company, and you can map this to your CRM. Here is another example where there is the CEO on top. So typically the person or the profile on top has the maximum privileges. There is a CEO at the top of the ladder, and you have the USA manager, UK manager, and Europe manager. Each of them has multiple sales personnel reporting to them. So you can just chart out or put your organization's hierarchy on paper and then try and map it to CRM, and we'll look at a lot of demonstrations on how to exactly do this. All right. Be it any structure we discussed so far, you must map it to a CRM, whether it's linear or you have a flat system. Whatever structure your company hierarchy is based on, you must map it to the CRM and carry over the permissions and privileges to the system. Only then you can monitor and collaborate with teams to carry out your business operations in a CRM. So to quickly sum up, we understood the importance of user management in Zoho CRM, why it is important to map your organization structure to a CRM, because once your business runs on a particular software application, the people associated with the activities in your business should also be mapped to the system so that this application understands who is who and who can do what in the system, or what data should be hidden from which users. So all of these details the system can understand only if you map the structure and define each user's roles and responsibilities in that application. Okay, so this is the reason why user management is important. There are a lot of details, how to define profiles, how to share data, what are the different methods of security. These are all the finer details of user management, and we will learn all of this in further lessons. And we also quickly went through the common methods of selling employed in different organizations. So, inside sales, outside sales, and channel sales. And when there's a combination of these selling methods, this collaborative sales is referred to as team selling. So, whichever structure it is, whichever model you follow, you have to map these details. You have to map the roles and responsibilities of people associated with these activities to the software, in this case CRM.